Hello all, sorry, just getting my screen right. It's 12 noon on Thursday and it is time for Reconnect TV episode 24. I think it's 24. 24, sounds about right. So what I'm here to talk to you about today, I'm just sharing this on my, just sharing as we go onto my Facebook, what's it called, profile, thank you. Just sharing it onto my profile. So yeah, I'm here today to talk about earth energies and how they affect us, how they can affect our success, our well-being, and how actually we can use them as a whole support network to increase our success. So I'm very rugged up. I just suddenly realised my heating had gone off and I suddenly got very cold. So yeah, I'll talk to you about the fact that we exist in a whole matrix of energy. Now, most people do not see them. I fortunately see them, but just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not there. They very much are. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my experiences of earth energies and how that evolved when I really began to see earth energies as not just things, not just a force, but also as a consciousness. That these things are animate and that you can talk to them and that they can really help you with what you want to achieve in life, as long as you're coming from a place of love and integrity and you want to do no harm and you actually want to enhance the world for your own growth. You want to help other people, but also for me particularly, it was about wanting to help nature consciousness and help nature and help heal this rift that we have with nature, that we see it as a resource to be plundered. Hence we have this massive ecological crisis that we do at the moment. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about that, about what earth energies actually are, so that we can go into talking about some of that. So right, yeah, so what are earth energies? Now, we're all familiar with energy, aren't we? Or the energies as, look at it this way, sort of energies as like atmospheres. Now we're joined by my cat today, by the way. That's Smudgley, who is making guest appearance. So I wanted to talk about earth energies. Yeah, I lost the plot then. So we are surrounded by this energy matrix that permeates and supports physical matter. It's, if you like, an algorithm. It's a mathematical formula of energy that makes energy become matter. So it's a whole network that props up the physical world that we see, because we know that matter is only, actually, when you break it down to it, it's only energy. We ourselves are 99.99% space, yet we can't see through each other. We look solid, don't we? Yeah, actually, we're only energy, we're only matter. So it's all to do with beliefs, minefields, what creates reality. So the whole of the natural world, the world that we sit in, the world that you walk through, the world that you're sat in now at your office desk like I am, the world that you drive your car through, you go shopping, there's a whole matrix of energy that is non-visible to most people, fortunately visible to me, that creates the physical world that you see. So there's a variety of theories about what earth energies are, and I originally got into them because I started off as a dowser, using things like crystals. See if they get it in front of the camera. Dowsing crystal, that was lithium. I love lithium, one of the base elements in the universe. But I started off as a dowser, so I began dowsing things like energy layers. So we're going to start off with some of the basic concepts of earth energies today, and tomorrow in my group, Divine Feminine CEOs, I'm going to talk to you about how you can tap into those energies of consciousness within your home, within your business. So I'm going to be doing some very practical, simple exercises with you tomorrow live if you want to join me. So yeah, so I started off dowsing because I could see these lines of energy across the landscape, and I could see these strange grid formations, and I could see these sort of like donuts, if you like. They're called toroids, but they're, to my child mind, when I started seeing them, I thought, oh, there's big donuts of energy everywhere. So I started seeing these donuts of energy. You can see there's big spirals of energy that come up out the ground, and I had to work out why they were, and dowsing really helped me with that. There are cuboid forms. There's a whole plethora of energetic shapes that surround you and are out there in the natural world. There are energies that are unique to humans, that are energies that are unique to trees, to plants, to fauna. It's information that helps it become the thing that it's going to be in reality. So it holds all this information about everything. So, as I say, I started off dowsing for things like energy lays, which are lines of energy that sort of link into one place in the ground. So let's put it there. Let's put top of a giant mountain, then it goes across the landscape and links to something else. Now that might be a sacred lake, or it might go to an ancient sacred site like Stonehenge or a pyramid or whatever else ancient man decided was applicable for the energy form of that location to build a particular structure. Now, structures seem to be built the way they are because of the energy formation that is there, because there are energy formations that crop up naturally in the environment that you could create a sacred space of, if you like, but they just haven't. They just haven't had several things correspondingly happening. So I started off dowsing these energy lays. Now, there's a lot of theory about what they are. They can be geomagnetic fields because the Earth is a giant magnet. So they're fields of geomagnetism that go around the Earth and create these patterns. They also, for me, have, like, I call it sound, but it's a vibration. So it's not quite within my pitch of hearing, but almost. And it has this deep, they have different vibrations, different frequencies to them, which again can be an electromagnetic frequency from deep within the Earth's core. Now, some also seem to come from outside of the Earth. They're connected to planetary grids from other planets. So there's all sorts of things. And then in addition to that, we've got things like underground water. Now, underground water emits a rise of energy that comes above ground, and particular types of water create different types of energy formations to come above ground. Now, when that water is healthy and well and lovely, that's fine. But when it's not feeling healthy and well and fine, that can have a real detrimental effect on our physiological well-being, our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, and actually our spiritual well-being. It affects us on many levels. If the ground underneath you and the energy underneath you is not well, then that has a knock-on effect of those people that are living in it. So, for instance, if you're a working from home entrepreneur like I am, then you want to make sure that your environment, or if you've got a business, if you've got a shop, if you've got a gym, if you've got whatever, you want to make sure that that environment is conducive to what you're trying to do in it. Now, if we go back to the basic ones, which is energy lays, now you tend to get two types. You tend to get what we call yin feminine energy, which tends to correspond to underground water, or at least go from water to water. There's different types. And then you get one that is, which would be feminine. So the yin is like feminine, receptive energy. Those kind of lines tend to be in low-lying ground, or they hug the bottom of valleys and all those kind of things. The other type of line that you get is the yang energy. Now that's the masculine energy, the out there, the active energy. And that has a different feel to it. So if you have those kind of energies within your home, and they don't have to be on a large scale, this is the thing, they can be on a small scale. If you've got a business and a desk like I have, where you want to be active and you want to get out there in the world, and really you want the yang masculine energy slightly more predominant in that area. And if you are doing something like thinking and reading and just preparing, and you want a bit of a quiet space to cogitate, mull over your business plans, what you want to do, really you want the yin energy, the feminine energy supporting you doing that. Now, the problem we have is when these energies go out of balance because of something that man has done in the environment, like building work or development work or mining or prisons or hospitals or natural disasters or anything that goes on. It can affect the quality of the energy coming down these lines. So when it reaches you, it can be less than well. Now, what happens to us when we come into contact with energy lay that is less than well? Well, if we look at first at the yang energy, the masculine energy, it becomes overly aggressive. It becomes destructive. It fires everything up. And people in that kind of environment, health-wise, tend to get hyper conditions. So they tend to get conditions where their body goes into hyper conditions. It's like fast, sped up, aggressive. And interestingly enough, there is evidence about health related conditions being associated with earth energies. The biggest one is done to water, but we'll get to that in a minute. Now, if your yin, your feminine energy, goes out of balance, what that can do is it can be emotionally overwhelming, and we get hypo conditions where sort of everything sort of slows down. We get bogged down in our emotions and our feelings, and we literally become sort of almost like waterlogged with soggy emotion, because we're lacking the fire, we're lacking the yang to pull us up. So it's about, there's a constant balance of masculine and feminine that interweave in the landscape to keep this harmony. We want enough receptive energy, we want enough action, we want enough fire, we want enough, hang on, let's consider this, let's think and feel what this means. So there's a constant balance, like there are within men and women. Men and women come from the divine unity of masculine and feminine. So we are created in that divine union of masculine and feminine. Women embody more the divine feminine because we're women, but we hold within us, imagine the yin and yang single, we hold within us a bit of the divine masculine. Men embody the divine masculine, but they hold within them part of the divine feminine, their feminine side. We have a masculine side, they have a feminine side. The landscape holds that energy as well. It's a balance of masculine and feminine doing a dance habitually. Is this dance in nature? The courtship, the spring, the mating, the harvesting, the seeding. It's all that. It's this courtship of masculine and feminine. And within our environment, we want a balance of that within the earth energies. Now, we also need a balance of planetary energy and all sorts of things. So it's about working out what energy we have in our home, whether at the moment it is healthy and well, and if it's not, what we can do about it. Our consciousness, we are an incredibly powerful yet humbling position. We are a physical human being, and we exist freely, quite freely. It's a dense existence, our physical body. It's very dense energy. We're in this body, but we are free to roam about. We also have a consciousness that, yes, is embedded in the physical structure, but also can actually extend well beyond us and access other forms of consciousness out there in nature, which means we have the capacity to form a bridge between consciousnesses that are non-physical and the physical world. We can marry the two together, which is an incredibly humbling position when you start wanting to work with nature consciousnesses to create balance in an environment where we and they can thrive. And it's not just about physical health, it's about emotional health, spiritual health. It's the fact that nature can help shed us from limiting beliefs and the stories that we're brought up in. When we start to work with nature consciousness, if you come riddled with self-doubt and, oh God, this isn't going to work and everyone's going to think I'm going to lunatic and, oh God, I don't know if all this is real, do I believe it? Remind yourself that your beliefs are just a construct. But actually, if you go looking to talk to nature consciousness without being free and fully embodying yourself, they actually do look at you a bit like a wounded animal. They're like, kind of like, oh my God, yeah, we'll talk to you, but God, lighten up. You've got so much power within you, and here you are dragging 57 suitcases of emotional, mental baggage with you, and here we are supposing to talk with you. So one of the things that I use, that I found manifestation mental practices really useful for, was actually shedding myself of the limiting beliefs about all sorts of things. Now, a lot of people will come up to me when I start talking about elemental consciousnesses and fairies and pigs and trones, say, oh, I don't believe in them. I was like, but belief isn't a fact, is it? Belief is just a construct. Belief is just our interpretation of facts and things that have happened and experiences the world. Now, when you start to experience communication with elemental consciousnesses, when you start to experience deep spiritual communication with trees, with the trolls of rocks, then your belief shifts. Because actually, if you've received very clear communication and guidance on actions and things to do in your life and business, then your belief will change. because you can't deny what's happening in front of you. So the energy of earth, the earth energies of yin and yang, and however they are present in your home, whether that be huge energy lays that go miles across the countryside, or only very small energy lays. Energy lays vary in size. A lot of dowsers will go, they go from sacred site to sacred site to sacred site. They're dowsing on a particular scale. Now, I brought up my sea energies everywhere, and they are on different scales. You may have small energy lays that actually go through your house, so they might only start in the front garden and finish out the back. And that's as long as they need to be, and they might only be this wide. But they have a consciousness of masculine or feminine energy. They create in masculine and feminine ways. And you can tap into those energies and you can say, I want to create a different life. I want to create a different reality. I want to create more customers. I want to create more success in my business. Now, yeah, they're concerned with the fundamentals of physical creation, but that is physical creation. That is natural creation. It's not just about making trees grow and plants grow. They're concerned with that whole sort of essence. So if you like, consciousness is within the ground. Consciousness is like, let's call them trolls for want of a better experience, or gnomes. They're just labels for an element of consciousness. They're concerned with very groundy, earthy things. If you engage them in your business, they are very concerned with getting you grounded in your business and what you're doing being earthy and applicable to people so that they feel rooted in what you're doing. And those consciousnesses can help you create content and create stuff and programs and services that will help you do that for people. When we talk about sylphs of the air, which are traditionally these consciousnesses of the air, yeah, they're concerned with the movement of the air. They're also actually concerned with light photons. So they're brilliant at helping you with stuff that's connected to internet marketing, because it all works on light photons. As does our communication with other people. Sylphs are incredibly good at helping us communicate because they are responsible for light photons. That's their remit, if you like. Every elemental has a remit: light, air, earth, water, all the sort of elemental things and everything that fits between that, so how that manifests. So sylphs within the air actually help us communicate, and our communication on a deep level and how the universe matters is largely around light photons and light frequency. So when we're communicating on deep levels, our chakras actually change light formations in these big kaleidoscope patterns that I see. They change light formation. And once you're trying to communicate on deep levels and get a very deep personal message out about your business, like I do, about who I am, I see energies, I talk to fairies, that's me. You know, that's the truth of my life, and it always has been. And I want other people to experience that. They may never see them the way I do, though people do when they're with me sometimes. Some kind of transference occurs. But when you realise that actually when you're walking around through nature, you're surrounded by dryads, you're surrounded by trolls. When you walk, this filigree of energy flutters up off the ground like space dust and then settles back down again, a bit like a Walt Disney film. And people have seen this when they've been with me and they've gone, oh my God, you know, I didn't know that existed. It's like, yeah, we interact with this energy all the time, but people are blind. So they walk, you know, you have a gathering of triads in a grove, dryads rather, around trees in a grove, and people go, oh, they're here, and they blunder right through the middle of them. You're like, good God, you know, be a bit more thoughtful about the other non-physical beings that are present in your environment. They are doing their bit. They are making trees grow, and we're doing our best to chop the ruddy things down at the moment, which is appalling. You know, there's all sorts of consciousness out there in nature. Now, the problem that we have as a society is that we have ceased to see the divinity in nature. Religion and science split really quite recently in the industrial era. Before that, religion, very clearly, all religions said plants and animals and the earth have souls, and we treat them with respect. And yes, they provide us with food and shelter, and we treat them with absolute respect because of that. Can we say that is still true in the modern world? I don't think it is. I think how we treat animals, how we mass farm them, how we perceive the earth as something to be plundered and quarried and mined and forests chopped down. We perceive the whole of the natural world now largely as a resource to be plundered. And that forms a massive schism between humans and the divine feminine energy of creation. And as a such of that split between us seeing the earth as just something that we can plunder and the divinity in it, the consciousnesses of nature no longer want to talk to us, because we just come through blithely, completely ignoring everything and just pillage everything. So when you can start having deep communication with these consciousnesses, now whether you see them as just energy, I say I don't see energy layers as just energy. I see them as a form of consciousness. I see water has nymphs in it. She is conscious. When you can start talking to these consciousnesses in your environment, you can say, you can't believe how sorry I am to the bone about how humans treat the natural world. When you can start having those conversations with them and being patient and wait for them to come, because we have abused them for so long now that almost they're reticent to talk to us. So in a lot of traditional stuff, spiritual teachings about, and these are ancient practices across many religions, about talking to what they call the more than human realms of consciousness, the realm of spirit in nature. A lot of traditional practices says you need to go in a hermitage for 6 months on your own before these things will start talking to you. Now, I think now when we make inroads to talk to them and we are honest and we come with integrity and we want to create a success for our own life, but we want to listen to what they want in return, and we action it. We demonstrate by the actions that we do. When we've been said, can you help me do so and so, we get a message back, yeah, but can you go and take a food offering to that tree, or can you do something else, and we action it, then they trust us more, because we have shown by our actions. It's like people, isn't it? It's like when you want to work out whether someone's treating you well. It's true what we say. It's like, don't listen to what they say, look at what they do, because it's what people do that tell you their truth. If they're trying to be honest with you and they say, oh, I'm really sorry, yeah, I'll show up for you next time, and they don't, then the words are meaningless. And that's the same with nature consciousness and us. We have to demonstrate our commitment to them. So I work with these consciousnesses. That's what I do. And when we as women want to reclaim our power as women, so female entrepreneurs, we're often dedicated to creating a lifestyle and income that supports us as women. We're often also trying to help women as a whole and help other women. So our mission, if you like, is helping to redress the balance between men and women in society. Not blaming men. There's been huge shifts in consciousness and patriarchy and but at the moment we want to redress that balance. For me, I also want to redress the balance partly through my work, and is in helping the environment, these nature consciousnesses. So I want people to rethink the natural world as a resource. It's a personal mission of mine, and I'm going for it. But then I also want to help this third schism, which is the schism between us and these elemental beings. So my way of showing up is to come on the internet and do these lives and try and encourage other women to tap into these forms of consciousness that are representations of the divine feminine as we are. Now, I've had huge breakthroughs throughout my life in talking to these various consciousnesses at times of crisis. It was a dryad in a tree, actually, who told me to leave my husband when she did, because she literally jumped out this tree and said, run. And it was when he was being particularly, he scared the living daylights out of me at that point in time. I was in fear of our lives. And literally this dryad jumped out this tree and said, run. When he goes across the field now, run, which we practically did. So, and recently I've been talking to all sorts of elementals that are as the result of modern society. We create elementals. We have created a goddess of money. Now, I've been working with money for many years, trying to redress my own relationship with her. And I realised it's because I thought her money was a him. And I realised actually money isn't him, money is a her. And that made a huge difference to how I dealt with money, which will be the whole talk of another lecture. But tomorrow, for those people that want to join me, if you're in my group, Divine Feminine CEOs, or if you're not, get in there and join, because you ought to be. I'm going to be doing some really practical exercises on how to find out what earth energy is running through your home, or where you work, or where you sit with your laptop. So tonight, between now and tomorrow, because I'll be live at 12 noon. You don't have to do it live, but it's great if you can, because I'd like the feedback. Oh, I haven't looked at comments. That reminds me, I haven't looked at bloody comments, have I? Excuse my French. There may not be any comments. Oh, it won't scroll. Why won't it scroll? Hang on. Let me see if I've had any messages. No. Well, anyway, if you're watching live, great. If you're not, super. So tomorrow, yay. What's the worst that can happen? Nobody will turn up. I'll be here by myself. So tomorrow, between tonight and tomorrow, if you can, if you have a home that you're concerned about, or you're a female entrepreneur and you work with your laptop dotted around the house like I do. I tend to do my lives here because I like to do them here, but I work dotted around. What I want is for you to do a floor plan of your house. It can be drawn any old house, it doesn't have to be exact, and measure it with a ruler. Just, this is the shape of my house, this is the front door, this is the back door, these are the windows. Draw it on a piece of A4. This is roughly where the kitchen is, roughly where the dining room is, roughly where the living room is, roughly where the study is, roughly where the, you know, the whatever, downstairs toilet or the scullery or the pantry or the snooker room or the swimming pool or the jacuzzi or the gym, whatever you've got. Draw them out, roughly speaking, on a page of A4. And now tonight, if you can, I'm very aware that most people do not have pendulums. If you have, great. If not, you can use your finger, or you can create a homemade pendulum if you can find something like a 5mm nut and thread a piece of cotton on it. I don't think I've got one here. Yes, I have, because I use these as well. You don't have to have a swanky pendulum. You can get something like a nut. It's the nut. Oh, the cotton slipped a bit. Get a nut on a piece of cotton. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you tomorrow. We're going to go through it together, and you can ask questions as we go. I'm going to show you how to dowse for energy lays and water that is going through your property. And then, so you can identify it, and then I'm going to show you how to introduce yourself to these consciousnesses of nature, so you can start to open up that relationship with them. That's a piece of fluff, and it went cross-eyed then. Open up a relationship with them so that you can start to be watched, because these energies, like I said, they form part of the consciousness matrix that creates reality. They are an expression of the algorithms that create the universe. That's what they do. The universe is a conscious mind, and runs, if you like, on algorithms. Won't go into the maths, but they're fantastic, that perpetuate and create realities. The universe has lessons to learn and grow, and lessons to learn and grow, and we get caught up in those. Now, I'm very big on the law of attraction, which a lot of people will be, with things like Abraham Hicks and what's it, The Secret? Is it Lorna Byrne, is it? Can't remember now. Sorry, I've gone blank. But I have an issue with some of that, because it says that everything we create by our own vibration. Now, that's actually not necessarily the case. We are not 100% responsible for what manifests our life, because we ourselves are part of huge algorithms within the universe that pushes the universe forward to develop. There's been some fantastic research lately. Dr. Jude Currivan's done some of this, along with various other people like Laszlo, part of what they call the Budapest Club, fantastic scientists, which have presented data to the United Nations that shows how algorithms can predict the rise and fall of cities, the rise and fall of civilizations, the rise of wars, the rise of diseases, outbreaks of all sorts of things. They come in these algorithm patterns, and we can be caught up in those. So we can be caught up in wars, we can be caught up in natural disasters that aren't due to our low vibrational frequency, bringing it all about and bringing it on ourselves. There's something bigger happening. We can manifest what we can manifest within schemes, within our own environment, but we are also part of bigger pictures that is the universal learning and development. And underpinning all of that is this energy matrix of consciousness, which exists in your home, in your office, in your life. You walk through these membranes and lines of filigrees of energy all the time. You just can't see them. And poor old nature takes a bit of a battering, because she's there to support us all the time with her abundance and with her growth, and we abuse it. And if you can start changing that relationship with it, I sound like I'm preaching, sorry. It's very dear to my heart, all this stuff. If you can start changing that relationship with her, then things really do start to shift in the most bizarre ways. It's like a game then. You can play sort of these 24-hour games because, you know, nature spirits like to have a bit of fun as well. So you can play these games like, oh, I wonder what bizarre ways and really unusual, bizarre coincidences and magical ways a new car is going to show up in my life. Or I'm going to earn £5,000 next week, tomorrow. You know, you can play these games with it, so that she will help you get off your deep internal scripts and programmings that tell you why you can't and why you don't deserve and all the rest of it. She won't play with you unless you show up as someone who wants to have fun. If you show up riddled with self-doubts and poor belief, then she'll basically just go, you're no fun. So it's like, but she can help you get rid of those. So it's like, it is a collaborative process. She will help, you help yourself. You help yourself, she will help you. And you help her as well. So there's a constant give and take. There's a constant dance, as there is in nature, as there is in everything. So tomorrow, we're going to be dowsing your home, your office, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. It'll only be short because when you've not done it before, it can get a bit tiring. So 20-25 minutes. If you don't catch it live, I will be doing a watch play party like I'm doing on this one. So I hope I've gone on a little bit longer than I intended today. So oh, June, yeah, I was hoping to take another walk. Nice. Use crystal healing flora in some of the areas. Felt the trees talking. Yeah, you will. Once you start tapping into these things, you start hearing and sensing things. Stop my horse and cleared her. Yeah, working with clearing the land. I worked. I will never forget it. Actually, little anecdote I'm going to give you. When I was married and lived on my farm, it wasn't the happiest place. There'd been lots of other trauma in there. So I did a dowsing and found a release point, if you like, that would have been the optimum site to do some earth acupuncture on the farm. So I went trundling off this field with my dowsing equipment, and I tuned into the energy of the landscape and said, well, I've got kind of earth acupuncture. I don't think sticking a metal rod in the ground is going to be particularly present. So what do I need to do? So I did a water blessing. I'd taken some water with me. I did a water blessing and poured the water on the ground and asked for the emotional healing for the water to be at its most purest, to send that energy through all the water under the membrane of the ground in the water table and deep, to transmit that energy, that healing which water does in our own body, and take that through the farm. Now I sat there thinking, as you do, even I do, I looked at all the energy and I looked at things start to change. I thought, God, you know, I love seeing this, but it's really nice to have a sign, because I do like signs. And I looked up and I saw this buzzard. And it was only about 10 feet above my head, circling around. I thought, look at that. I thought, oh, look, here comes another one. And then another one. And another one. And another one. And here comes another 5. And oh my, and I watched literally this blacker and blacker vortex of buzzards. I have never seen anything like it. And they started off about 10 feet. And in the end, they were so high up, I couldn't see them. And there were hundreds and hundreds of them. And I watched them flying in, and they were right over my head. And I, even then, thought, well, this must be some kind of natural phenomenon. Buzzards must do this every so often. It must be some kind of mating rituals. Contacted the bird societies, and they all looked at me and went, I don't know what you're talking about. And it was just this black vortex of buzzards, started about 10 feet above my head, and they must have gone up, literally. They went right up into the clouds. I've never seen anything like it. And then as soon as I kind of thought, wow, they're here for the water, they're here for this emotional release, they're here for this vortex of energy, of emotional relief that is rising up into the sky. As soon as I realised that, I went, oh my God, it actually worked. Everything in the landscape kind of shifted, and these buzzards kind of then went away, and it was just a totally different feeling. People who visited the farm went, what's happened? Something's changed. And it was just the act, and I engaged the consciousness of water to do that. I said to the water, look, we need to heal this property. You are beautiful, clean spring water. Water carries information. And I consciously asked the dryad to carry the information of healing to this farm. And water doesn't need to come into contact with other water. Water can transmit information across distances to other bodies of water. This is one of the things they found out when homeopathy started to work, that phials of water adjacent to each other, this one had come into contact with the actual substance of homeopathy, and this one hadn't, and yet it still had the information. So water is able to transmit information across distances. This is non-local connection. So you can use water to heal vast areas of the landscape if you do it correctly. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at water underneath your home and the earth energies in your home and any other nature consciousnesses that you might have wandering around. We probably won't get it all done in one day, but we'll progress this work as we go. So everybody who's had the patience to stay with me, because I've gone on slightly longer, but I'm really excited about tomorrow. So if you're not in my group, Divine Feminine CEOs, I will put a link up, because this is practical work that is exclusive to my group, and it's part of the techniques that I use with my high-end clients in my program Sacred Feminine Living, which is all about tapping into all these different consciousnesses, working out where your energies are in your home throughout the year, because they shift and move, and actually creating sacred energy structures, sacred sacred space, creating sacred space for you to work in to really enhance your success in your business and in your life. Some of them can be permanent, some of them can be temporary, but it's about, because once we tap into this algorithm, this expression of consciousness of creation, then we're part of the network, we're plugged in. We're not sat there on the outside going, why isn't my life where I want it to be? Because you're not part of anything. You don't have to do it alone. These consciousnesses will co-create with you, but you need to do it from a place of honesty and integrity, and it has to be a relationship. You give something, you get something, they give something, they get something. It's not all about take, because that's what mankind has been doing for far too long. So I really hope you'll join me tomorrow. I really hope you've enjoyed that. I will run this as a watch party tonight for those people who've missed it. But I will be on live to take comments. So I'm really hoping you join me. If this is of interest, or you think it's going to be interest of anybody to know, tag them, link them in, share it on your page. As women, let's start this movement to reconnect ourselves to these consciousnesses, to these nature elementals, to these spirits, to these guides, to these divas, angelic beings, consciousness of planets, trolls, gnomes, whatever. Let's engage with these. Let's start a movement to re-engage with these, to reconnect ourselves to these consciousnesses of creation and start to create a different way of being. It's gone off my soapbox now. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea, and I will see you all soon. Take care then. Bye. Where's the mouse gone? Find it in a minute. End live video. See you soon. Bye.